We are Chris Lee and Blake Lovell of Southeastern 14, presented by Stakes, previewing every single SEC football game for the coming week and weekend. Right now, we get to LSU's trip to Texas A&M. That kicks off 6 Central Saturday night on ESPN. Anyway, two programs going in very opposite directions. LSU is headed to the SEC championship game with Georgia next week, and A&M is kind of headed nowhere at this point. The Aggies did finally get a win this past weekend over UMass, maybe the worst team in Division I. So would be a huge, huge opportunity for A&M to redeem its season to a degree with the win over LSU.
Yeah, I mean, it would certainly be a nice way to finish the season. Like we said, it's still going to be a season that's looked on with a lot of certainly scrutiny and what ifs based on just again this. Like we said, I mean, some of this for A&M is obviously injuries and the flu outbreak and a lot of that's kind of out of your control, I guess. But at the same time, like we mentioned, it is there's no other way to put it. It's a very disappointing season for the Aggies, out of bowl contention. Again, this is basically a pride thing here. If you basically, I mean, how do we say it, Chris? For A&M, what you're playing for here is, I guess, if you want to say pride, but the other thing is to officially knock LSU out of the college football playoff because a 3-loss LSU is not getting in. I think even as the SEC champion. So that is really, your motivation here, I think. Otherwise, yeah, it's going to be interesting because I think LSU, as we said, probably the most improved team from start to finish the season. Think where they were game 1 against Florida State, where they are entering now, heading into this A&M game. Just remarkable job by Brian Kelly and his staff there, and setting up, I think, pretty nicely entering the final game of the regular season here.
Okay, when LSU's got the ball, Tigers averaging 33.4 a game, Aggies giving up 21 even. LSU's lost 10 fumbles, A&M's recovered 11. LSU has thrown 4 picks, which is exactly what A&M's got. Okay, yards per play, and a pass play includes sacks. So rushing yards do not include sack yards. Okay, LSU, when it runs the ball, averaging 5.8 per rush play, A&M giving up 5.1. LSU averaging 6.4 per pass play. I don't know where that came from.
Fur, too.
A&M giving up giving up 5.1. Oh, my. Okay, anyway.
It's week 13, folks. Come on. We've done every
is.
game this season. You know what? Just disregard some of this
fumes.
stuff. Yes.
Okay, fur or no fur, LSU going to run the ball. Jaden Daniels is going to run the ball a lot. They got a lot of backs who can carry it, and the Aggies have been pretty awful against the run to good teams.
Yep. And I think that's the key to this game is it's not, again, just what LSU can do on the ground with anyone other than Jaden Daniels. It's what he can do and just how different the game obviously can be just with the skills that he brings to the table here. And like you said, A&M is 123rd nationally, 211 yards per game allowed on the grounds. That's not good, as we know. Obviously, pass defense has been good, but the rush defense has been a different story. And I think if you're LSU, certainly, you look at kind of how this could play out here, and you're feeling a lot better. I think just again, it's not just that. I think it's the mindset too, because again, this is a team that knows, I think, offensively how good they can be. And we've seen this, time and time again now when you really look at it. Aside from, I mean, honestly, Chris, we think about this, aside from that game at Arkansas, we've talked about kind of where this team has been offensively over the past month or so, really beyond that Tennessee game. And we just know, I mean, there's so much. We talked about the wide receiver group. We talked about Jaden Daniels' playmaking ability, and all those things. And that's obviously been a big driving force of what they can do. So, yeah, I mean, I think if you're looking at it just from a pure matchup standpoint, it's an A&M team that has not been able to stop the run statistically, an LSU team that has a running quarterback that's put up 740 yards on the ground this season, 11 touchdowns. And, yeah, I just think that the dynamic that Jaden Daniels brings to the field here is going to be a tough one for A&M to stop.
Okay, before we talk about the other side of the ball, let's talk about our sponsor, Stakes. You can predict sports better than the crowd. For a chance to win NFTs with stakes, players can cement their sports predictions against friends, other fans, and influencers forever. Don't let your sports genius go overlooked. Join Stakes and have the best predictions captured in the moment. Go to playwithstakes.com/14. That is STAKES. Use our invite code Southeastern14 for a double welcome bonus. It's a predictions app, not a betting app. It's all free. You can win stuff, have fun, and support the people who support us. Okay, when A&M's got the ball, it's not always been pretty. Aggies averaging 21.4 a game, LSU giving up 20 even. Aggies have lost 12 fumbles. LSU's recovered 10. Aggies have thrown 6 picks, which is what LSU has registered. LSU has 25 sacks. That's what the Aggies have given up. Per rush play, LSU giving up 4.6 yards. Aggies gaining 5.4. Yards per pass play, A&M averaging 5.6, LSU 5.9. Devin Achane didn't play for A&M last week. Connor Wegman went the whole way, 10 of 19 for 191 and 1 touchdown. He's a talented player, which is kind of the one thing you've got to hang your hat on at this point if you're A&M is maybe you got your future behind center.
Yeah, and I think, again, this is where, look, if you have a freshman like this and you're going into the offseason, you're trying to build on something. Like, can you just have a strong performance here and a strong offensive game to finish the season? Because as we've said, right? I mean, they put up 20 points against UMass. They put up what, 10 against Auburn. Before that, they had actually scored some points. I mean, we've talked about kind of a streak of in the 20s. But it's still an offense that, like we talked about, ever since the injury way back when, to Williams and all those kind of things. And A-Chain didn't play in that game too against UMass. I think that's worth pointing out. And by the way, I said Williams again. I'm thinking of Josh Williams, who didn't play for LSU, which we forgot to mention that. He didn't play against UAB, the running back, but Brian Kelly did say he could have played. So I forgot to add that into the LSU section. We're obviously talking about Smith.
Noah Cain was a beneficiary of his absence. Yeah.
Yes, I was going to say I wanted to bring that up real quickly. It was on my mind. We didn't bring it up in the last section, but obviously, the injury to Smith and how that changed kind of the passing game. Again, A-Chain didn't play against UMass. I don't know what our expectation is. I know he was out there warming up and stuff. So I think obviously they have to have him in this game. I think to have a chance to win it, just because he adds a different dimension, as we always say. But yeah, I mean, what can you get out of Connor Wegman in this passing game here? I think that's going to be interesting to see, because we talked about very high on this LSU defense. It's not just Jayden Daniels, I think, that's got them to this point. They played some good defense at times, and I think that's LSU just feels like a team that has hit that total package point, right? And I think for A&M, the issues offensively going up against this defense, I just think are too much to probably find enough points in this one, given what we think could happen on the other side of the ball.
Yeah, Harold Perkins would like a word here. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, he would probably be okay and probably make a few plays in this game would be my guess. So
miscellaneous stuff. LSU penalized 57 yards a game, A&M 49, which is a good number. FEI's special teams rankings, which are lagging about a week behind right now. LSU's been miserable on special teams all year. 127th nationally, A&M's 52. Of course, if A-Chain returns a kickoff, he can bust one at any point. Strength of schedule, LSU's has been a little bit harder according to the computers I look at. Okay, you've got a line of 9.5, I think, in LSU's favor as we do this Sunday night. 46.5 point over under. I like LSU to cover. I love the under in this one. We're not professional bettors, but if LSU wins this game 24-0 or something like that, that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good point on that. From our friends at Covers, quickly, here's probably the numbers you need to know. LSU is 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 games at A&M, but here's the kicker, Chris. LSU has covered 11 straight times against Texas A&M. 11-0 in the last 11 meetings between these two teams. That's a wild number to look at. So again, that trend's going to stop at some point, but I'm not willing to bet that's going to happen here. Again, we're not professional bettors, but I just think LSU, as we said, is the most improved team in the SEC to this point. A&M is just trying to get to the end of the season here. Didn't look great against UMass. And to me, it's if A-Chain plays, that obviously gives him a little bit more of a dynamic offensively, but still, I just don't know what they're going to be able to do, to stop the running attack of Jaden Daniels, perhaps Josh Williams, and kind of what they can do on that side. So yeah, I think LSU mindset is important because we know they're playing for something really big here. Their shot at the college football playoff still in reach if they win this game. I think they come out and should have a really good chance to win this game.
He's Blake Lovell. I'm Chris Lee. We're Southeastern 14, presented by Stakes. Thanks for watching. Again, we'll preview every single football game involving SEC teams for this week.